ICB live from Chicago Comic-Con 2009, standing with one of my personal favorite artists, which it's a pleasure and an honor to meet Chris or Christopher.
Christopher, actually.
Christopher Shy.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a little crowded here today.
Yeah, it's the Saturday's for. It's the busy day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you've got a particular style of artwork. It's kind of like painting. Can you explain your style of art?
Well, it's kind of a mixed media process, and I'm hoping to get 100% digital eventually. But it's basically a combination of photography, tempera, and Photoshop. And then I just mix it all together and kind of work it, print it back out, put it back in, and just basically work it until it gets done.
Very cool. And you have your own Studio Ronin. Now that some of the artwork, or you've done conceptual artworks, Studio Ronin, for some various movies. Can you tell us a little about the movies you've worked on?
Yeah, I did the conceptual art for Pathfinder. I worked on that. I did the graphic novel adaptation for it, and the studio actually built some miniatures for it. The last one I worked on was Friday the 13th. I was there the entire time in Austin, Texas. I did all the preliminary conceptual design for it, worked on site, helped Marcus basically define the vision of the movie. We did a lot of groundwork where it was just daily sketching, storyboard meetings. Worked with a really good friend of mine, Mark Yates, who actually did the storyboards for 300. So a lot of the time it was just like the three of us hanging out and basically looking at individual areas and going, okay, let's go back and do a little bit of painting and change it as we go.
Very cool. Now you've also have a new storyline coming out. It's actually out, called Soul Stealer. What can you tell us about that?
Well, actually, Soul Stealer is kind of like Ridley Scott's The Duelist. You have two warriors, an Etruscan and a barbarian, that meet on the battlefield 2,000 years ago and fight pretty much an epic conflict that ends up being just the two of them. And the gods are so impressed with their fighting that they basically deem that they're never going to die. So these two guys continue to fight into the present time until at some point they realize they don't really have that many differences. So they basically realize that they want to turn on the gods and try to basically knock their immortality out, so as it were. And this is the sequel to the book here. The first book came out about 2 years ago, and it was a phenomenal success. Actually, it was an unexpected success. And we followed it up. I was actually working on that book at the same time that I was working on Friday the 13th. So, and it's selling very, very well. We've actually sold most of the copies here so far.
Very cool. If people aren't at the Comic-Con this weekend, where can they find your artwork, or where can they find your work?
Well, they can find it at StudioRonin.com for sure. DMFcomics.com also sells it. We've got most of the books up on Amazon. Soul Stealer 2 is not up on Amazon yet, but you can certainly go over to DMF Comics or Studio Ronin and find it. Yeah, you can pretty much find everything here on StudioRonin.com.
Very cool. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you and spend time with you. Thank you. Live from Chicago Comic-Con 2009, this is BeyondAir.com Network.